Imagine you walk into a party with your friends and family, and you suddenly feel super self conscious about the summer dress you're wearing. Even though you felt good about the dress before you showed up to the party, after all, you put it on, you put your makeup on, you were feeling good. Once you walk in, you're suddenly concerned. Am I overdressed? Does this dress make everyone around me feel underdressed? I hope I don't look like I'm trying too hard. Is the neckline too low cut? Is this print too bold? Is this a little too tight? Is it showing off my body in a way that might make people uncomfortable? You suddenly feel like everybody is looking at you and you become worried about your body. Your dress suddenly feels too tight and you wish you had lost some more weight recently. You wipe off your lipstick because you don't want others to think you're trying too hard to get attention. You can't stop pinching your stomach and sucking in and fidgeting with your dress. The party is not as fun as it could have been because you're totally out of the moment and worried about what everyone else thinks. Have you ever experienced a bad body image day like this? If you have, stay tuned. If you can relate to the scenario I just shared, I hate to break it to you, but you might be a people pleaser. And first of all, I want to say no shame in that. That's been part of my life journey. And the more I study this, the more I realize it's something I struggle with and have always struggled with, but working on it. The more I dive into studying body image, the more I see the link between people pleasing and body image altogether. Think about it. If you were to go to a beach and be the only one there, maybe it's a private island. Would you be so self-conscious if nobody else was there? Would you hate your body if nobody else was there? Or would you be able to enjoy a peaceful day at the beach? Chances are the people around you have an impact on the way you feel about your body, which is why we can think about people pleasing as something that directly impacts our body image, because people pleasing is essentially over worrying about how other people are thinking and feeling and doing what you can do to make them feel good and comfortable and happy. So when it comes to people pleasing, you are losing sight of your true self so that you can make everyone around you feel good or feel good about you. In this episode, I am going to share with you what people pleasing is in more detail and 3 ways it's harming your body image more than you think. First of all, let's talk more about what people pleasing is. People pleasing is a behavior where someone prioritizes the needs of others over their own, even at their own expense. So many people pleasers have difficulty saying no. They take on too much work. They avoid advocating for their own needs. They may also go along with things they don't agree with, conform to harmful behaviors to just keep the peace, or tell others what they want to hear, even if they don't believe in it. People pleasers are people who constantly seek the approval of others and are always striving to be liked. Now, if you're a people pleaser, there's nothing to be ashamed about. I've spent the majority of my life being a people pleaser. And just like perfectionism, there are some really positive qualities that come along with it. For instance, I'm super considerate of other people's feelings. I can anticipate the needs of others. And in general, I am a caring person. However, there have been times in my life I've lost sight of my own needs, wants, and desires because I want to be liked or approved of. And that is when it is not okay. And I'm telling you, I'm working really hard to no longer do that. Thinking back to my eating disorder days, people pleasing was one of the roots of my eating disorder, meaning it contributed to the body image issues that motivated my eating disorder. So let's dive into the 3 ways people pleasing can harm your body image more than you think. First of all, people pleasers want to be approved of. So the need to fit in and be well liked and accepted can be a massive contributor to body image issues. I would go so far to say that I took on my eating disorder because of all the positive feedback I got from my peers at school related to my size, appearance, and weight loss. So every time someone told me, oh my gosh, wow, you're so tall and thin, you should be a model, I felt not just liked, I felt adored, and I craved that. It made me feel accepted and special, especially after having really awkward puberty years and having never had a boyfriend. It made me feel like really valued. And I'm telling you, I was such an awkward middle schooler and high schooler, especially early high school, that I found that the better I dressed and the thinner I was, the more accepted and liked I could be. So the praise that came with being thin boosted my confidence as a people pleaser and motivated the eating disorder. I felt like being in a thin body kept me safe from things like rejection or being judged or being that like awkward kid I used to be. This became a big problem because whenever I gained weight, my self-esteem would plummet and my self-worth would as well. The interesting thing was, I was convinced that I'd be more likable, more interesting if I was thinner. But in reality, what happened was when I gained more weight during my recovery process, I actually became a more outgoing, relaxed, and fun person. And isn't that crazy how a nourished brain could do that? I had more friends than ever the summer I recovered than the summers before that when I had this thin model body. So actually, I became more approved of and liked after my weight gain because I gained my personality back. Which one would you rather have, right? Would you be in a place where you'd rather be striving to be liked and starving yourself? Or would you rather be living in a body where you can be present and personable? The second way people pleasing harms body image is that people pleasers also want to make everybody around them feel happy and comfortable. So when you feel the need to do this, it can go as deep as using your own body as a way to make people feel happy and comfortable. For instance, perhaps you grew up with a critical mom. Every time you lost weight, she would be happy for you and applaud the change, whether or not the weight was lost in a responsible way. When you gained weight, you feel self-conscious, not so much because of the extra weight and how it makes you feel, but because you know your mom wouldn't be as pleased or happy or as proud of you because of your appearance and the change in the weight. In that same scenario, you want your mom to be happy and you start to associate her happiness with your size, which is totally messed up. So sometimes I've seen clients get wrapped up into dieting because they are better responded to by the people they love. And sadly, we cannot keep telling ourselves that we can control how people think and feel. So as a people pleaser, it's very easy to think to yourself, oh, I can do X, Y, and Z to make this person happy. But in reality, we don't have as much control over a person's emotions as we think. Other people become suddenly uncomfortable and, quote, concerned for them or concerned for their help. And the people I know in larger bodies say that they've turned to dieting to be smaller and try to make others feel comfortable when they walk into a room. This is so unfair to the individual because how others feel about your size is not your responsibility to manage. And finally, the third reason why people pleasing is harming your body more than you think is that people pleasers don't want to take up too much space because they're so darn considerate. The phrase too much space could be seen as a term related to body and size, which it often is, but it can also be too much space as in too loud, too extroverted, too opinionated, too bold. And to me, the concept of taking up too much space is less related to size as it is to being seen and noticed by others. Many people who worry they're taking up too much space share that they don't want to be seen because they feel more vulnerable and exposed when they're seen. When it comes to body image, taking up too much space is related to size because the larger you are, the more likely you are to be seen just because you take up more space, which puts you in a risk to potentially being judged or criticized or put in a more vulnerable position. The idea of taking up too much space is also related to traditional gender expectations for women. Women have historically been expected to be small, quiet, polite, ladylike, etc. And this fear of taking up too much space is a self-consciousness amplifier, right? You don't want people to see your body's flaws, quote, in quotes, or the things you're self-conscious of. Being worried about people seeing the changes your body is going through is definitely connected to people pleasing because you're concerned about how they will perceive these changes and if they will judge you. I also find that taking up space blends in with body image when it comes to clothing and style choices. For me, because I'm very tall, when I choose to wear heels, the people pleaser in me always cringes, and it is tough still for me to deal with because I don't want people to be uncomfortable because they are too short around me. This happens to me all the time. Whenever I put heels on, a short person will literally say to me, "Oh my gosh, you're making me feel so short." And they say it in this ashamed way. And I always hate that. I feel guilty. I feel sad. I regret wearing the heels. Sometimes I'll take the heels off and I will feel like I'm taking up too much space. I'll feel very uncomfortable. I never got to the point where I slouched everywhere where I was, but I have gotten to the point where I'm actually feeling bad for making people feel a certain way. So this idea of taking up space can really be extended towards things like bold makeup, alternative hairstyles, hair colors, bold prints, wacky tights, lots of color, loud personality, lots of volume in your voice, you name it. Taking up space can be so many ways outside of body size. And in a way, it's taking up space as in how are you drawing attention to yourself? And if you are drawing attention to yourself, is that making you feel uncomfortable? So again, as a people pleaser, there might be a concern about being seen, and that makes you feel vulnerable and exposed. Those are the 3 reasons why people pleasing is harming your body image more than you think. So to recap, the first reason is that people pleasers want to be approved of, so the need to fit in and be well liked and accepted massively contributes to body image issues. The second reason is that people pleasers want to make everyone feel happy and comfortable, and sometimes they'll go as far as changing their body to do this, which is, again, totally unfair and not okay. And then finally, the third reason why people pleasing can impact body image and how is that people pleasers don't want to take up too much space. And that could be in the form of body size or how they express themselves through their style and their personality and other choices. So again, I just want to remind you, it's a normal drive to want to be well liked, to want to be approved of. Think about how that impacts the relationship you have with your body. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Full and Thriving podcast.